So just before going live, I we were talking about the fact that we are streaming this on my YouTube channel, Adam Makes Beer, and I, my Stu told me that I've got. I mean, it's either smart, it's a lot of trust, it's stupidity, or it's something like that.
I want you to screenshot your followers or subscribers right now so we can track the trend as they incrementally peel off minute after minute.
Bro, I'll tell you what, we got 3 people on the stream right now.
No,
Okay,
that's a terrible idea. That is 3. That's actually 5 too many people. We should be operating at a -2 viewer for this. And I think those -2 are URI. I don't know if anybody should watch.
These
watch
are just
this.
all my dummy accounts. What makes me feel worse than anything is to be 30 seconds into a stream and already have more people live than I do for my beer thing.
Yeah,
it almost makes me feel, well, it does make me feel worse. God.
So we have to make with beer content now.
This is all it is.
And
this has been the real problem the whole time. People have actually liked me the whole time. What's holding me back is what I have knowledge of. It's that nobody's interested in what I have knowledge of.
It's kind of boring. Yeah. No,
me, okay enough. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, I'll follow him on Instagram. I'll throw him a sub on YouTube. But the content, actually just not interested. So that might actually be the thing.
Okay, so they come for the beer, right? Mm-hmm. But they're staying for you. Maybe they're looking for more beer knowledge. Mm-hmm. So do we start with hops? Do we start with the tank? Do we start with the what's the thing with it's got the little needle that goes around that and then the steam comes out of it?
That's right. You got all that stuff.
There's that guy. I already said hops. Yeah, I'm kind of out of the ideas now for the beer.
That's really it, though. I mean, and that could also be my problem too. Is that really? I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell. You know what I mean? I mean, go ahead.
I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, why did you think this was a good idea? Number 2, why are we doing this?
Well, and we kind of spun this up. So this is, so just real quick, if you're joining, this is not a beer podcast. This is obviously on my Adam Makes Beer channel, streaming right now, or what have you, wherever you're going to be listening to it, whether it's that or on Twitch or whatever. And but we started. I shouldn't really say we started a few times in the past. This is a dear friend of mine, Stuart. We grew up together. Title of the podcast is, apparently it may be debated at this point, it's Small Town Boys, Small Town Guys podcast. We'll figure it out.
It's something John Cougar Mellencamp related or inspired. Chili dogs to be determined.
There is. What do you think? What do you think, John Cougar? First of all, 2 things. What do you think John Cougar Mellencamp smells like? And 2, I mean, because he could just smell like the Indiana State Fair.
Okay. Sure.
You know what I mean? Like Middle America, fried goods, carnies, and the like, right?
Yeah. Now, you said you wanted to stay away from controversial topics, and you're bringing up carnies at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. I had to leave all of my conspiracy theory topics at the front door
I didn't say anything about conspiracy theory topics.
Well,
But okay, so John Cougar Mellencamp, what do you think? What do you think he smells like? So when John Cougar Mellencamp walks by you, in the mall, what wafts past? And two, do you feel bad that he had to add the cougar, or do you feel good that he was able to eventually drop it?
well, cigarettes, probably cigarettes, probably some whiskey. If you made whiskey, we could probably dial in on that one a little bit.
That's right.
Deeper,
Yeah.
But we don't have kind of that whiskey subject matter expertise at the table. He did. It was, and I don't know the chain of events. Not a Mellencamp historian, just a dabbler a little bit. John Cougar Mellencamp at one point dropped the cougar, went John Mellencamp. At one point, it was just John Cougar, no Mellencamp.
Yeah.
So there have been 3 different iterations. The last I've heard about him, he was screaming at his audience at a concert probably last year. Absolutely.
We all get older. We get
older, I mean? and we get very opinionated about the state of the world. And the easiest, if we have children, we can take it out on them. If we don't have children, we can take it out on paying customers, like people who are attending his concert who have loved, like Paper on Fire and is it Bottle Cherry Bomb,
Yeah. I mean,
it's a hit maker.
I could see it. And I do think, but this is probably how it came up. We are kind of talking about, the small town boys, small town guys, whatever it is. It has, Stu and I both grew up in small towns, and sometimes people want to quantify that or whatever.
How
I believe
small?
my town, so my town was technically a city when you drove in, and I believe when I was there, before the majority of industry left that town, there was probably 1,400 people that lived in that town. Now, technically, you were a village, correct? Off the top of my head.
I was a villager, yes.
A villager.
I was a villager. It was like 800 people. There was no speakable industry or businesses. You guys had a McDonald's, which was pretty fancy. It was kind of a later edition,
Yeah. We got a second, or maybe we just got a stoplight. I'm trying to remember. So I mean, we were very small town, and so Stu and I grew up together. We're childhood friends and
enemies even at some points. Too.
Listen,
frenemies.
When you know each other long enough, I mean, let's be honest. There's going to be ebbs and flows. But we had done a kind of a draft lottery show a few times. How many times have we done a video for that, Stu?
Probably 4, 5.
Yeah. And we always had a blast.
It's always fun. It's always easy to do.
Yeah. And so we actually just did that this past weekend. And we had a blast. Stu put together a fun, like Vegas style lottery thing with he did awesome work with the pictures and whatever. We just had the guys get together and we streamed it just like this, except not actually, for general consumption. And it got us kind of spitballing.
It was incredibly offensive at the end of the day. It was not something that would be generally consumable. Yeah.
I don't think it was like that. But we did have to have the conversation. Well, we probably didn't, but my paranoia was like, hey, listen. And again, like honestly, even what we did on that thing was probably
well, we had the conversation, and I kind of made it my first order of business is to discuss the conversation, just to make sure that I could make you, which is one of my goals, to always be slightly uncomfortable. You know, I think that you are probably at your best when you are not quite sure if the other shoe is going to drop, when it's going to drop, or even what that shoe is.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Oh, we've got Pink Core of Hamilton in here looking for a little love. He said we look great, and he wants us to know if we need anything painted. Well, we'll let you know. Thanks for looking out.
Yeah.
But
I'm probably going to need to have something painted here in just a little bit.
Eventually,
Yeah.
at some point. So yeah, I mean, we started making these videos just really yearly, and we had a good time with it. And you know, I don't know how it is for all of you out there, but I don't know. It seems like as the years roll by, it stays harder and harder to keep in touch with all of your people. And so we were just chatting about this, and we're like, well, what if we did just do like a monthly thing?
Well, I think the timing's right. There is not a lot of people doing these kind of things.
Sure.
It's never has, I guess, guys our age, in background, our opinions been more important than right now.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think that the nature of the conversations, as evidenced by the 35-minute John Cougar Mellencamp conversation, we can tell how important in breaking that's going to be. So
yeah. You know, I feel like you hit the nail on the head. It's one of those things you always want to be. Do they use the terminology like blue water? Is that like a 15-year-old business term?
Never heard that term before in my entire life. There's blue sky.
We need. Why
don't we blue sky this for a second?
We need a guy. We need a producer, and we need to just have them be able to Google things for us. Like a Jamie.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean,
yeah.
Jamie, can you pull that up? That's what we need in a situation like that.
I, for one, would love to be passively aggressive to a producer for 35, 45 minutes at a time.
What if we could get perhaps a twin Joe on it? I think he might be in there right now. So I mean, we'll see how it all plays out.
We both know that no matter what, that person would become a punching bag. Like, sure. It's absolutely what's going to happen.
So we stumbled upon something this weekend that I did not know before. I have lived in Cincinnati for just about 5 years now. And you made me aware that Cincinnati, in some circles, is referred to as not the city with no pity. That's what I always say. As the San Diego of the Midwest.
Did you look that up? Did you see that it's like that's a real thing?
Yeah, it is a real thing. I didn't try to dig too far into the origins of it. One, just because I like it, and it's one of those deals where it's like, if you keep going further, you can be disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like how I felt like it was always going to go. Like if you're trying to like meet a woman, right? Like it might go well for a moment, but then they're actually going to find out like what you're really like, right?
Yeah. Which is what exactly? What do they find out eventually?
Well, you're a letdown. I mean, let's be real.
What's it really like?
There's a veneer.
Complete animal, yeah.
There's a veneer, but you know it wears thin and surprisingly easily.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't believe I've been to San Diego. I've been to Cincinnati several times. Having been to California, I'm not sure that at any point I would have confused the cities.
No.
You know, but
I was in San Diego for a beer conference, and I mean isn't it like on the ocean?
Well, most of California is definitely, it's north. middle of California. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We're kind
I'll
of
take
we're in blue water. I think that's what you were
Yeah,
talking about a
Blue
little
water.
minute ago.
Well, but
We're
the
kind of
blue
in blue water now, which is out of our depth. You know?
No, that is, it could be as well. But blue water means that there's no other fish in the water there. If you're swimming in red waters, that means that there's a lot of competition, right?
Okay.
Your sharks are eating things, you know what I mean? So blue water is there's nobody doing it.
Right.
And again, like with the podcast thing, a couple of, guys of a certain age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
that, one of my favorite things was, how, what did they, it was like, what do you call a group of like middle-aged white guys? A podcast, it's like, what's the group name?
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
So we do have, speaking of Cincinnati, maybe San Diego is the Cincinnati of the Southwest
of the West Coast.
Yeah,
maybe.
Could be. But we're going to be getting some of our people together here this coming weekend. Actually, we're just 2 days away. We're Thursday.
Do we have any activities or events that we're going to do? Are there Cincinnati?
Do you mean funtivities?
Funtivities, yeah.
Because if you're asking me if there's funtivities, we could figure some funtivities out
in Cincinnati.
Yeah, sure. Cincinnati. Yeah, I think. Listen, what does Cincinnati have? I know very little about it because I believe the road the freeway that goes around it, that wouldn't be 480, is it? Maybe it's 480, but every city has like the loop freeway around it. I don't know what that one is. One, because I don't really go inside of it. Okay. So I've been downtown Cincinnati maybe 10 times in 5 years. And that's me counting being inside the loop, which no one counts that as downtown other than me. So like, as far as things that you can do, like I've gone to the zoo a couple times, the aquarium. There's times I can't tell if I'm in Cincinnati or if I'm in Kentucky because the lines blend down there. But they've got stuff. We can go do stuff. I mean, what's some of the stuff that you want to do? I don't have any funtivities planned.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what guys do anymore. We could take them. We could take them to the zoo. Take the guys to the zoo.
Take Jim to the zoo.
Take him to the zoo.
It's just I like the idea of just like a shrunken down Jim, his little arms up holding one of our hands each, and we're just walking him through the zoo.
Asking him what the monkey says, asking him what the giraffe says.
Okay, so we have the Cincinnati. Well, so we're getting together for a draft, whether or not we actually do the draft together, because last year we didn't do the draft together. But really, we're at the age where if we don't find reasons to get together, there's a period of time where we had weddings. All the weddings are over. And so we don't have reason to get together anymore. And so the draft around Labor Day is something that we've kind of adopted. Stu, if you were to explain the type of fantasy football player you are, how would you describe yourself?
Wow. That's boy, oh boy. I think that I kind of want to say like a Jameis Winston. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably the funniest guy on any team. He probably can put up like a lot of like just crazy points in a very short amount of time, but overall not like the best like long-term player. Just a good guy to like have around.
He's the DGAF guy, Yeah. What up, Bobby? Good to see you, man. Yeah, Jameis is the one where it's just like there's no. First of all, he's a pleasure. He's charming.
I love him.
He's
Yeah.
funny. He
I'm glad
seems
he's on a team. Yeah.
super nice.
Yeah.
He had that thing where he was stealing crab legs. When
Awesome. It's awesome. I love it.
And then he had the W eating, where he was eating W's. I love his pregame speeches to the team. I'm a huge fan of that as well. So you see yourself as a Jameis Winston type.
Yeah, just great in bursts. You're not going to build a deep playoff run with him, you know. Fill in, give everybody some laughs for the evening. And then by time reality sinks back in, and then it's like, you know, like you come back down to earth, and it's, oh yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, but and Bobby brings up something. Bobby in the chat says he's a great locker room guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you know, you need those guys on the team. I think
got to have those guys.
You need those guys on the team. You took me, first of all. We have not exchanged like, hey, topics or questions we're going to ask each other, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
But you caught me with that, because I thought that you were going to like just say like how dialed in of a fantasy football guy are you? Like, are you super serious? But you did that way better. That was way better.
And that's kind of my thing, right? It's like taking something that like most people is like, oh, it's kind of ho hum. And man, I'm gonna take it to the moon. I'm gonna take you to the moon sometimes. And then sometimes maybe I make you wish you were never born. So, you know, it's kind of like I'm throwing 6 picks, right?
That's right. So yeah, because I was going to answer like more directly and say that fantasy football for me is one of those things where I have no balance at all. It's essentially my only hobby anymore. Like, I don't have hobbies. Everything that I've done for hobbies in the past, I now do for a living. Whether it be like I used to make beer for a hobby, and then I make beer for a living. And then kind of as a hobby for fun, I start doing the content thing. And then now I'm doing content for a living. So, or a partial living. But the fantasy football thing for me is it's full-time, it's weird. And you would think that I was a compulsive gambler for the amount of research that I do with fantasy football.
I used to be that way. I used to be the exact way. And during the season, I'm really dialed in. Outside of the season, I follow my team and that's it. I'm not really looking at what's going on kind of like across the league. I hate fantasy football. I mean, I love it, but I absolutely loathe it with every fiber of my being as well. I have dreams, man. I have dreams sometimes, you know, like, you know, those dreams where you just can't do something normal. Like, it's incredibly difficult to just like dial a phone number in a dream or something.
Yeah.
I have dreams where I'm like trying to pull up the app just to look at like scores, you know, and like I can't get it, or it's like it doesn't make sense. And, you know, don't notice the huge dog that just snuck up behind me. That is perfectly okay. That was expected. I'm not in danger. But I don't. I can't give it as much of my heart. I have a lot of hobbies, though. I always have a ton of hobbies.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you do have stuff like that going on, and I like it. You've got a range of stuff. I don't have anything like that. So for me, like I do fantasy stuff year round, you know. And the funny thing is my 14-year-old, he has gotten very much into it as well. And you know, the content that I research and stuff, like it's all built for like junkie gamblers, right? Like it's not like
just scumbags, just like the worst of the worst sort of guys.
It's all built for Worm from Roundup.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the site you're on has a disclaimer at the bottom where it's like, if you or someone you know is struggling with an addiction problem, you know, yeah.
Yeah. So my son has gotten into it with me because we're both Stu and I, and then you know, growing up in Michigan, and then my son, you know, all huge Lions fans, Detroit sports fans, and so we talk real football, we talk fantasy, and so the problem is he starts like bringing some of this verbiage to school, and it's junkie talk. You know what I mean? Like in 6th grade, you shouldn't be talking over unders. And
yeah. So like if the teachers want you to come in, you know, like we're concerned here.
It's potentially like they're like, oh hey, can you come in? We're gonna do this thing where it's like bring your dad to school day or whatever, but it's really just like an intervention.
Yeah.
We just come in. It's the principal and the counselor.
Usually, if you say, I don't have a problem, you have a problem, and if you can swipe something off the desk, then that usually kind of will put a button on it.
I think I'm gonna have to take note of that, because you never know when you're gonna find yourself in that situation. So I'm full on junkied out on this stuff. The funny thing is, and I don't know if this is funny or not. I think this year I will spend more on the fantasy content that I consume than I will spend on payouts for leagues.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
So, I mean, it's close. Actually, maybe I spend $1 less. But yeah.
You're paying for content when it's just online for free.
But I don't know, and I find it questionable, because I sometimes say to myself, the older I get, the less competitive I get. And I think the reality is the older I get, the less situations that I find myself in, less competitive situations. Sure. If that makes sense, because when I am introduced to a competitive situation, or I peel back the layer on something like what I'm doing with fantasy football, because I basically only play fantasy football with people I love. My dearest friends from college, my lifetime best friends. And then I have a small family league, basically.
It's way different when you play with people you hate, and I know that is the truth, because I'm in a couple of leagues with a lot of people that I don't like, and losing to people that you don't like is a very bitter pill to swallow.
How does it compare to? But I mean, do you think, and be honest, has something that happened in fantasy football added whatever layer of tension, any layer of tension at all, to somebody that you are friends with?
100%, 150%. Last season, I'll give you the perfect example. I'm obviously not over it, but we were in that playoff game, and my team was up by like 20 points. And Joe sent me a text, good game, I guess my team sucks. And it was so early. And I don't text with the people that I go up against. I leave it alone, because I know how far back and forth this pendulum can swing. And I just thought, oh, you just tanked this game for me. You doing that just cursed me. It screwed me. And sure enough, my team just crapped the bed for the rest of the match. And he went on to win. And it's like, he can't help himself. He can't help himself. He has to do it.
No one will. And so if any of you out there are fantasy football players or have been in a long-term league, Joe is the guy. There is no guy in our league that will send you the congratulation text on game day. Like if you have one guy on your team, run back, a long touchdown catch, and then your quarterback throws the touchdown pass within the first 2 minutes of the game, his phone's heating up, man. He's already sending you a text, and he's like, "Well, good win," and I'm like, "It's just the first quarter, man."
Yeah.
But so you think that he could potentially just be trying to turn the tides?
There's something he's putting out there, and it is a toxic energy that, for whatever reason, like when I saw it come in, I was like, oh my gosh, like part of me is like, oh, I should just mute my notifications. If I don't see it, maybe I didn't get the text, right? It absolutely tanked that matchup for me. And I don't think it would work if anybody else did that but him.
Well, the week before, I think I congratulated you, saying that it looked like we were going to play each other. And then you told me, well, don't jinx me.
It was, I was getting it from a lot of angles, and I was getting pretty upset. Yeah, for sure.
Just says he apologizes for nothing. But I will say, for the good, if you want to view the two of us as a team now, it was good for the collective team because all of his mojo wore off that week because it was his turn in the championship game to.
And I think I would have
the bed.
That would have been great for us. I think I would have lost anyways if I remember correctly, but it still would have been a lot of fun to have that.
Have we ever gone head to head in a championship?
No,
I don't think so either. The Twins would know. The Twins would know. So that's where I think we come down on the fantasy thing. This is a league that has existed for. It's not 20 years. Is it 23?
Yeah, 02. You weren't in it at the very, very beginning.
I wasn't in it at first.
It was localized when it first started, but no, this is year 23.
At what point does it feel like we're just but it's okay. But honestly, though, like I understand what you're saying, but like as soon as I find out somebody is dropping out of the league, I am heating up.
Yeah.
I am heating up the lines.
Yeah.
Looking for
somebody. I'm mad at that person.
I don't even allow myself to go there. Like as soon as somebody says they're out, I'm trying to find somebody else because I need this league. I need this one. This is it's my foundational league,
Yeah. Yep,
I wanted to, when I was thinking about today, doing this first podcast 0.
We don't have segments. We don't have bits, right?
There's not segments.
We don't have a shoddy of the week.
Yeah, we don't. Are we gonna have a shoddy of the week?
We have a shoddy of the week. I don't know what that means.
I'm trying to think of when people stopped saying that. I'm always interested on like the cultural page turn. Mm-hmm. One of the things, and it's a vintage dad play, but something that I'm legitimately fascinated by is how like when we were growing up, or like even a little later, there was swagger, right? You could have swagger, and then later it evolved into drip. Okay, and then there's things
drip
after
and swagger are different though.
Really?
Yeah, drip is more of like how well you have outfitted yourself. It's your clothing and accessories.
Okay, so but
swagger and Riz are a little bit more related.
Okay. So I'm fascinated by when the page is turned on one of these terms and the new term enters in.
Yeah.
The new term enters in.
Yeah, it's just whatever stupid idiot, Gen Alpha kid comes up with something that catches on. I love it. I mean, I will consider myself I probably know more about like Gen Alpha
I didn't even know there was Gen Alpha
than I do beer. So
what's Gen Alpha? Gen Alpha is below Gen Z.
Below Gen Z, yeah. It's still kind of a bit of a toxic wasteland, but it's interesting.
Well,
the next generation's absolutely cooked.
What we're spending a lot of time doing in my field right now is talking about Gen Z, and like half of them aren't of legal drinking age, but they're spending all of their time talking about how Gen Z doesn't drink.
Yeah, I've seen a number of statistics about that.
They're a little weird. I mean, just with anything, well, one of the things that I think is most exhausting is how, regardless of what space you get into, you never get like a full cognizant, like thought out idea. Everything is just a thought fragment.
It's a data point, it's a soundbite, it's a bullet point. It's sure. And there's not enough context or interpretation of the data to really build an actual narrative or a story that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. My kids from tracking like the generational stuff, my kids are about as out of the loop as I am. They don't have, like, my older kids have phones and stuff. My youngers don't. I have hit the point of fatherhood where I have one child that almost exclusively communicates with me with memes.
Yeah. Yep.
When your children do that to you, do you understand? What percentage of those memes do you understand?
100%. And 100%. I'm doing it more to them than they are back at me. I have to explain the memes to my daughter. She's more out of the loop than I am. So,
yeah, and I don't know if it's just Mike's personality or what, but there's sometimes where I'm like, oh, ha ha ha, whatever. But then sometimes he sends me one and I'm like, I have no frame of reference for this. I don't know what this means at all.
The humor is different, and what they find funny is a little bit different. There's overlap, but some of the joke construction and delivery feels a little more heavy-handed, I think, than our generation, where we grew up with more subtle and dry. For Gen Z, and a little bit younger, it has to be more overt. And I'm not really surprised due to the lack of subtlety in culture, as a whole. I think that comedy, we see comedy getting worse, I would say, arguably. There are not as many good comedians that I think can construct really interesting, jokes that are very clever, and can build on it. There's a little bit of a lowest common denominator sort of thing going on, which unfortunately is a result of that industry getting flipped upside down because of YouTube, because of, content creation, all of that. Somebody's funny can go and think they can put together, 10 minutes for an open mic night. And then if they have enough followers, they might be able to become a comedian. And it doesn't mean they're going to be good, because there's not like the same sort of gatekeeping of the industry that there used to be.
Sure. We grew up, and this is one of the things that Stu and I did when we were kids, but a lot of times I would go over to his house and stay the night, Saturday night into Sunday, and we would end up running around town or whatever, and then we would ultimately end up usually the closer for the night was watching SNL, and I don't know if I don't think everybody says this, because I do think I think there's a lot of truth to the fact that people always think that what happened when they were young was the best,
right? Yeah.
But the SNL that we grew up with was definitely one of the better versions.
I think that's fairly sort of well regarded as what
Exactly.
there's not a lot of people going to say that early mid 90s SNL wasn't very good. SNL, the interesting thing about that, the older I get, I realize how much of how formed I was by that particular show.
Mm.
Just like the way that I will think about jokes or think about what's funny always falls into almost a formulaic frame that
Mm.
I can probably correlate to some sort of SNL sort of either a sketch or, and that show is incredibly formulaic as well. Like
Mhm.
you no matter which generation you look at, there's always kind of a rhythm to, you know, to that show. But it's I don't know. I mean, when I was a kid, there was a period of time where I wanted to, I wanted to write comedy, and there was a time even in the mid 2000s I wanted to write comedy. And then I went
Mhm.
and looked into it, and I had a friend who was, writing comedy, and I looked at taking improv classes, and you know,
I've always, I don't know. I think that stuff is, I think that stuff is fascinating. And I don't, so I have a bunch of respect for that. I did do like in my later 30s, I did 2 stage shows for those of you out there that don't know me. But I did 2 of those and that was awesome. I loved doing performance stuff is great. Whether you're talking about short skit comedy to musicals, I'm a huge. I love for me personally. If my favorite form of entertainment, whether it be music, concert, what I would rather see a stage show. I think stage shows are the best.
yeah,
Just so much fun, but um, I think that era was interesting because you kind of had a little bit of an older crew there when you had Carvey and Dana Carvey and Mike Myers, and you also had Phil Hartman, who
who's
were
probably, if not the greatest of all time, one of the top
yeah, yeah,
five
yeah,
greatest
yeah,
of all time.
yeah, yeah. He was really really amazing on that show, and then they had Rock for a period of time. Then they had all the young guys. So there was Chris Rock for a period of time. There was Sandler, Farley, and I'm going to be missing some others. Obviously, Norm was still on the show at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
David Spade. There's so many.
that's right, Spade. Yeah,
There's so many great characters that came in and out during that time. It's just a ton of talent. Rob Schneider, of course.
what was for you? Where did
Where did it all go wrong?
no, well, maybe, but I was to say the news. What was the news program?
Weekend Update.
Weekend Update.
Yeah,
Where does Weekend Update fall for you within all that?
I loved Weekend Update. I mean, obviously, Norm is is my favorite of all time. I think when I first started watching it was Dennis Miller.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but I think I really, Kevin Nealon is number 2 for me.
Mhm.
Just so many great sketches with Kevin Nealon. Um, I really enjoyed the Ike Turner stuff
Yeah,
with the with Kevin Nealon and Tim Meadows. That was
yeah.
always very funny
I
bit.
think that's one thing that they've done consistently pretty well over the years. Even the 2 guys that they have going right now are funny. And I am kind of like at that point where I didn't really know if anything was good on it anymore. But I've seen some stuff that it's
Yeah.
Shay,
Yep.
what's his last name?
Guevara.
Shay Guevara. I do want to have the T-shirt, and I don't know if I ever showed you this, but you need the Che Guevara silhouette and like the Rage Against the Machine. Michael Che, thank you very much. You need the Rage Against the Machine font underneath where it says "That's what Che said,"
Okay.
and so you're kind of mixing
Yeah.
like a little office humor or a
Yeah.
little Jer
Yeah.
humor.
Yeah.
Um,
That's definitely some millennial slop sort of joke.
But yeah, so he and the guy that married Scarlett Johansson,
Colin Jost.
Colin Jost, yeah, they're both funny.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
they
they're
do a
definitely
good
funny
job.
guys. Yeah, it's definitely There's always something good, no matter
Sure.
what. There's always good actors, good performers. I'll watch it, and I'm just the percentage of how often I laugh changes. You know,
Sure.
There's always a few sketches that work.
What do you for you? I'm always interested in stuff like this because when I find a bit that I like, and this is okay, this will not sound funny at all, but there was a meme that I did where it's just a video of Denzel talking to Jamie Foxx, and he says, "I'm leaving here with something." And then he repeats it and he says, "I'm from around the way. I'm leaving here with something." And all I did, I put it behind like a trade show thing. And I'm like Brewers when they go to the trade show, because most people are just trying to get their hats and, you know, whatever swag they can get. And
was that from the Ray Charles movie?
It may have been from an interview from around. It might have been from an interview from around the time, but that clip of him saying that and making Jamie Foxx laugh is so funny to me, because you can tell it was a really, really funny moment. And it's like a 9-second clip. I've listened to that like in the car for like 10 minutes straight on loop. And that might make me seem simple-minded, but what I love about it is in some ways it's like the inflection. Right? There's certain things, because the sentence is so simple and it's not like the most clever thing on earth, but like really digging into the delivery of it.
Delivery is everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's one of the hardest things to nail, is how to really kind of like set it up to deliver, you know, a punch or, you know, whatever. But you were going somewhere. You had a question that you started out with.
So really for me, like I love pulling things apart, because I will, especially if I hear a funny clip, because everything's a clip these days, right? Mm-hmm. If I hear a funny clip, I'll sometimes listen to it like all the way home. And again, that might sound crazy, but what are the things that you like to really drill into or really explore when you're like listening to comedy, or like you're trying to think of something funny that you want to be able to say at some point?
It's, for me, it's always, it's unexpected. So, but sometimes you can expect what's unexpected. And I think I've got to that point with people that I typically, you know, make jokes around. And I've often explained to the people that I'm closest to that it's not always about what's good or bad or right or wrong. It's just what's funny and what's not funny, you know?
Sure.
And so I will think, you know, it's, well, what's the funniest thing I could say in this moment? What could, you know, hit hard, or what?
Sure.
Or is it something really subtle? One of my favorite comedians is Bob Newhart. If you haven't gone and listened to, you know, Bob Newhart, his like sandpaper dry delivery kills me, because it's just like, it'll be something that's just so obvious or something so witty. I absolutely love that. I like understated performances. I don't like big over the top, goofy, laughing loud. I don't like blue comedians either. Like if somebody's working too blue, I tune out, you know.
Sure.
Like,
what turned you on to Bob Newhart? Where, I mean, because when we were a kid, it was after the Bob Newhart show, but he had Newhart, which was like his second sitcom. So, but was there like albums that you listened to?
Well, that show, and then I went back and like listened to like stand up, watch his interviews, like that sort of thing.
How old were you when you did that?
I actually got obsessed with the show Newhart during its first run because
Okay.
I thought it was so funny. And
Yeah.
then when I got older and then my taste kind of like, matured a little bit, I went back at it and it was like, it's just unbelievable. Just like
So it didn't
the timing.
disappoint. It
No.
didn't disappoint going back to
Mhm.
it. That's rewarding. That's wonderful.
I love guys like that. I love guys like Jonathan Winters. You remember him? You would recognize him if you saw him. There's some of those great kind of classic comedy guys. I'm not a big Rodney Dangerfield guy, but his stuff is still really funny.
Yeah. It's interesting to me because I remember my dad rented a VHS of Eddie Murphy Raw. And growing up in the country, we lived in a really old farmhouse, and how you get heating to the second floor of a farmhouse is you cut a hole in the floor in the second story, and then you just put some metal over it. You just put a metal grate over it, and
I remember that in your house.
The heat eventually gets up.
Yeah, you could look down into the living room, right?
So there, and this has happened more than once, but you could. So you have the looking straight. I would be looking straight through the floor. So straight through the floor, I could see the carpet in the living room, but you also have the depth of the floor here, right?
Yep.
So it's not like a full rectangle, right? And so like when you start like sliding over to the side to see if you can catch the TV, you only see a little corner of the TV, right? And I remember him watching Eddie Murphy Raw and laughing. Raw's the one where he's dressed like Michael Jackson, right? And the red leather. Yeah. And I didn't understand half of what was being said. I was young. I was really a kid.
Yeah,
but
at that
I don't
time
remember a lot of stuff.
I knew what all that stuff was at that time. So.
I was super worldly.
Yeah, like I kind of knew a lot of that stuff already, so that was pretty much day in and day out for me.
Yeah, it's just everyday stuff for us back then, But I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of that, and I don't think I really remembered much. I think I was watching SNL before I really watched stand up. And then you find out. And it's funny because at the time, and of course now we know. Listen, the reality is if you grew up in the 90s, like the Cosby Show was a big deal. Like, I remember when that came on. Was that before or after Cheers on Thursday?
Before. Cosby Show, 8 o'clock, 8:30, Different World, 9 o'clock, Cheers.
A Different World. Yeah, a Different World.
You don't
Lisa Bonet.
You don't remember Dwayne Wayne.
I remember flipping those mugs up.
Yeah.
But
you remember what college they went to?
Hillman, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it Hillman?
Uh-huh.
I
ain't one of the Cosbys. I ain't go to Hillman.
I ain't go to Hillman. That's one of my favorite Kanye-isms. But it was so good. But I mean, like I didn't even know Cosby did stand up. Like it was later.
That was the first stand up I ever listened to was a Cosby tape when I was really little. There was this place where my mom used to work. She used to clean houses, and so I'd go along with her. And this one family had a bunch of tapes, and I would just listen to that Cosby stand up, and it was pretty clean material. It was like talking about like being it's right at the tip of my tongue, the name of the album, but it was it's all about being dad with kids and everything. So it was Cosby Show era stuff. Now I think he had some older stuff that was really kind of raunchier, like
oh really?
Probably not as bad as like Red Fox's albums, but you know.
Or like, who's the guy? Also, time period thing, which I never realized. I didn't know that Bob Saget was filthy. Like,
I don't know. I don't know if that was like a turn after he got off Full House, or if that was what his deal was before. I don't know. I wasn't terribly interested into.
Oh, me either.
That
But it is funny though when you. I mean, to us, they're just.
Well, so was Howie Mandel.
So okay, so Howie Mandel did sitcom, or
He did a lot of movies. He
okay,
did cartoons. Yeah, he was in a lot of
okay.
stuff.
What was he
Famous
big?
germaphobe.
Yeah. Have you since one of the things I noticed is I am less likely. I identify a spot on doors that I'm willing to open it up by, and I often open it with my finger,
Yeah.
with my pinky finger, from a germaphobe thing, something that's evolved in the last 4 years for me. Is I will do that.
Yeah.
For some reason, this pinky is not attached to the rest of my
It's
body and
that one's
can't touch my
disposable.
face.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
disposable. If something actually does happen to, if somebody says pick one's got to go, that's the one you're using to open.
It's one of these guys.
Yeah.
Hey, worst case scenario, you look a little less classy when you're sipping your tea.
Yeah.
But yeah, from a germ I'm not like a huge germ guy, but I do know that Howie is, like you mentioned. But the one thing that has creeped in since COVID days is I select the bottom port. If it's a handle style, like like the rectangle, I go pinky on the bottom portion of the door because the top portion of the handle is most worn.
Sure.
And so that's why I'm going pinky.
Yeah.
On the bottom of the handle.
Yeah, no, you know where the bell curve is pulling that door from. You know, the teeming masses, the hoi polloi.
So what side of the curve does that put me on? Does that put me
You're to the right of the bell.
To the right of the bell?
Yeah.
Is that good or bad?
That's good. No, that's good. You never want to be smack dab in the middle.
Right? Yeah.
Well, that's not true. There are a lot of things you don't want to be too far to the right on. Which actually, that's one of our segments too that I haven't told you about.
Too far to the right on?
I'm too far to the right on. And, that we'll just talk about a topic,
Well, I do think, one of the things that we talked about before going on was I'm like, let's lay low on politics, whatever, and or different things. And I usually tell, like, when I do my regular podcast, I tell people, I'm like, hey, this is something we usually don't touch here.
Do you do that? Like if you're bringing on a beer guest, are you saying, hey, like, come on, man, like, don't, you're gonna kill me here.
I tell people usually in my email, where I have a kind of a form email.
Do you have a list of swears? Do you have a list of swears and slurs that are inappropriate / appropriate?
I have a list of my preferred
ones,
curses and other profanities, and then the no words. But no, I will tell people that I don't. I said we don't do politics, and in general, I try to be relatively PG-13, even though that's like going by the wayside a little bit. I find a fair amount of folks in my industry have a hard time turning that F word off. Did you just bounce? I see you. Oh, your camera just unplugged, Stu. If you can still hear me, they will need to connect there. Add to stage. Hey, guy. What just happened? He's popping in and out, people. We'll see what we can get to work. I got you.
Yeah.
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
No, it's
We're going wild here, folks.
It takes me. So my USB hub thing decided to reboot. I will definitely fix that before we do this again.
Don't worry about it,
man. 59 minutes because it's not. Let me see. I'm going to try one more time.
Okay, go ahead. right, let's see. Boom.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, yeah, I generally tell people like in the intro one, and it's really just like if you're turning in to listen to a beer podcast, we don't need it infiltrates everything, right?
Right.
It infiltrates everything, and so yeah, that is one of the things that I'll tell people that I do want to keep
Now
politics
the
out.
problem is that I find I am fairly uninterested in all politics except for when it's funny. And there are a lot of times it's incredibly funny.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe that like I said before, like what's the funniest option? Maybe that isn't always the best option, you know?
For sure. Well, listen, man, why don't we kind of wrap it at an hour, you guys? First of all, it was I'm very surprised. I see some very familiar names in there, some people that I've known for a very long time. But hey, Jorge, we mentioned before there's a Robo research paper published in April where they go into quote Gen Z is drinking less thing. I read that paper. It's super interesting. It was Robo Research. I don't remember the guy's name, but the conclusion is they're drinking almost exactly the same. And they're linking the drinking thing more to actually being 25 and having more expendable income at 25 than you do at 21. But anyways,
it's cherry pick data in order to try to like, come up with some sort of.
This Robo Research one was probably one of the more comprehensive ones that I read. It's actually pretty good.
But all of like the trending narrative is cherry pick data to try to like, oh, this generation is so different than the others. But they're as dumber, most likely, I'm finding than previous generations.
Dude, okay, so I'm gonna ask you this.
Yeah,
I have one of the ways that I use, probably maybe half, maybe it's less than half, but a decent chunk of what I use, like the basic AI stuff for, like ChatGPT is, I give it paragraphs, video clips, or links or whatever to an idea, and then I ask it to give me the logical faults within it, where it's being intellectually dishonest, and then give me the steelman argument for and against something. I find that, for me, that's really fun. That might sound crazy and boring, but for a use case for it, I think it's a really good mental exercise in the first place, because we get so easily caught like in our zone of information that is being sent our way. That's something that I like to do with it.
And we'll talk more about things like that in our segment, The Zone of Information. And we will talk about AI prompts and the way to kind of like, vet ideas and blue sky things, blue water things. We'll green sky it. We'll straw man it. We'll steel man it. We'll,
we're gonna do it all.
Microman it. Whatever we're gonna do. It's in the zone of information, of course, which might not be every episode. It might have to take it off, or am I too far to the right?
Well, listen, everybody, I appreciate you tuning in. This is definitely a new thing. So always open to comments, everything like that. If you really want me to see them, don't drop them in the stream chat. Drop them in the video chat. If you at all feel burned that this was not a beer podcast, I apologize.
I apologize, and I'll say I told you so. Nobody wants this. I'll try to come up with some beer topics, or bring a beer if I find a beer.
Someday we'll tell them about when we found those beers in Marion.
We did Fine
Yeah.
beer. So that'll be the spinoff Adam Finds beers.
Yeah, and so for those of you that don't know, because there are some worlds colliding here, because I see Jorge and I saw Bobby in the chat before, and I know those are all Adam Makes Beer guys. Most people that know me call me Mills. So obviously I'm Adam, but most people. So I actually had to change my name on this. I'm like, well, I'm not going to be Adam Makes Beer. I'm not going to be Adam. Most people call me Mills.
But the funny thing is, I don't call you Mills.
You don't?
No.
But
I never called you Mills. It was always Adam.
Well, what'd you call? Oh, you called Alice.
Yeah.
And you called Twin.
You were Adam. Those other guys were something else. You know, it doesn't matter what they are, right?
Yes. That means
Only
a lot.
Adam.
That's an Ethernet roller coaster of a hug right there, Stu.
Yeah.
I'll tell
It's
just slid right across that thing and slammed into me. But listen, people, I'm not sure about frequency on this. Stu, do you have time to jump on a call a few minutes after we jump off here?
yes.
Sweet, man. I'll catch up with you. Leave us some comments if you enjoyed it.
Or don't
Don't
have to leave comments about this.
Hey, but then follow the check out my story on Instagram, and you can follow the Small Town Boys podcast on Instagram, baby. So get in there. Who knows?
Get in there. Who knows is the official tagline of the show.
I hope you remember these things because I want to be. Bobby, good to see you in here, brother. That you made it from beginning to end. You made it from beginning.
Kind of the Iron Man of this one, right?
All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good night, everybody, and we will catch you next time.
Later.